Hello everybody and welcome back to Cinematic Venom. I'm Rob and today, very special video. I'm here with Anthony Tyler Quinn, most known for Boy Meets World, A Christmas Snow, No Greater Love. How are you doing today? You doing all right?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here, so thank you for asking me to be on.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. So, like I said, I grew up with A Boy Meets World, which a lot of people did. My son is literally called Eric Matthew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I've actually tweeted that to Wilfred L and he loved it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I grew up loving the show, so it must be like a great feeling to have been a part of this show that touched like so many people. I mean, do you still get like the emails about it and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to sound really like nostalgic or romantic about it, but it is sort of the things that you dream of when you're a young actor. You know, you start off just your first goal is just to be on TV and then to be a part of something like this that after however many years it's actually been on and so forth, to have people remember it so fondly and to talk about it that it means so much to them, the show and the characters and all that stuff. I mean, it really is something very special to be a part of it. I'm very blessed and grateful to have been a part of that show.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that later as well. So but it must have been like really emotional to revisit it for Girl Meets World as well, so ever many years later.
Yeah, it was like a big family reunion to see all the people after so many years. And I mean, I don't think I'd seen Ben or Danielle. Probably it had been 12 to 15 years since I'd seen them last.
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend had never seen either show, so I showed her Boy Meets World, and then we were both absolutely gutted when Girl Meets World got cancelled. And then literally the finale episode where Ewan and Ryder reunite, that was just so nostalgic for us.
Yeah.
But back to the original first. So you joined the show in the second season. Were you a fan of the first season of Boy Meets World?
Well, it's kind of funny. My original experience with Boy Meets World sort of goes back to the beginning. I was doing a show with Michael Jacobs. We were doing a pilot that he had written and that he was producing. And while we were doing that show, and I had thought we had assembled really a very talented cast for that show. It was Jason Bateman, Willie Garson, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, myself, and Jana Marie Hupp. And Michael had created this great world of quirky characters, and it takes place in Jersey and all that stuff. And at the time, we were right in the middle of doing it, and Willie, I think, had told me that Michael was working on another show called the Ben Savage Project.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who Ben was, and I didn't connect him to Fred Savage.
Yeah.
At the time, I kind of thought it sounded like somebody who was like much older, like in his 60s or mid 60s, something like that, because I thought, I'd never heard of this person. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter. Michael's got a hit show on his hands right now. So worst case scenario, he's going to have two shows to deal with. And our show didn't get picked up. But Michael and I had developed a great working relationship. And he had called me in and said, I want you to read for the father, Alan Matthews, on this pilot that I'm working on. I want you to come in. He goes, the only thing I'm worried about is that I think you might play a little too young for what we're going for. So I read for it. I read for him and the director and the producers and all of that stuff. And he loved me and he brought me to network. And that's where I first met Ben. I think Ben was 11 years old the time I met him. And he and I read for the show, and we read together, and we had a great time, and we were very funny together. But Michael was right. The network thought I was too young. So I didn't get the part of the father. And then I never really watched the show until that following year. Michael called me in and said, hey, I think we found the right character for you. I want you to come in and read for this teacher on the show, and maybe you can, sort of be a part of this universe. And that the rest is history, and that's what my first experience with Boy Meets World was.
But Jonathan was a lot cooler than Alan anyway.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yeah, the cool factor on that was way off the charts.
Yeah. Now, there were like two actors in particular that I thought you had great chemistry with. One of them's going to be obvious. I'll leave that one for a second. But I think the first one was Bill, who played Mr. Feeney.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you both, like, obviously Mr. Feeney was like the old school, by the books kind of character, and I thought the contrast between your both characters just worked so well. because you were like more the wisecracking, smart ass kind of. And I mean, I think one of my favorite scenes of you both together is I think it was one of your first episodes actually, and there's the scene where Bill says to them, the kids are protesting, and then he's like, "Our rage is going to be the kids."
Oh yeah, I can learn a lot from you, George.
Shut up.
Did you and Bill like form a friendship offset as well?
Yeah, I mean, he was, you know, if you look back at the career of Bill Daniels, I mean, he's worked with everybody. He's been around for so many years.
Yeah.
So to be able to actually share the stage with him and work with him, I mean, there was many days when I would ask him questions about working with Warren Beatty or working with, you know, many of the other actors, Rock Hudson or James Garner, all these people, and he had. You know, just so many stories of Hollywood history that he was a part of. And then, you know, he was just a character on stage every day. He'd come in and we would joke around, and he was just such a pleasure to be around and so easy to work with. It just made my job so much easier, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought you both had some great chemistry. And obviously the other one would be Ryder Strong. Did you?
Yes.
That was probably one of the best friendship relationships in the show, in my opinion. Did you and Ryder get along offset as well?
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that you saw really, you know, on stage was a reflection sort of the relationship that we had off stage. He was just a joy to be around. He was, you know, a great young actor, and the stuff that we did, the things that we were doing, it was just sort of effortless. When we worked together, it just kind of came out. We didn't really rehearse too much together because we didn't really have to. The things that happened organically, and it was really easy. And you know, Ben was the same way. The things that we did, we just clicked. We clicked on and off the stage, so it was great.
Okay. Did you were there like any other cast members that you may not have filmed enough scenes with, but you still like formed a friendship with behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, we were all like a big family. I mean, I loved the kids. I mean, they were kids at that time. Danielle and Ben and everybody. A lot of the guest stars that came on were all sweet and stuff like that. But Will Friedle and I had become really, really close pretty quickly. We became like brothers on the show, and we've been like brothers ever since. And one of the things that I do regret is that he and I didn't have that many scenes together.
Yeah.
But I think one of the challenges for me would have been if I would have been in more scenes with him. He's probably one of the funniest people I've ever known. Yeah. So it probably would have been really hard for me to keep it together in scenes with him because he's just that funny. It's like he'll make you laugh and you're just going like, what was that? You know, he's just crazy. So it's just hilarious.
Was he literally Eric Matthews in real life? Was he?
Yeah, I mean there were so many things that he could bring. He just had such a feel for that character. Obviously, Will is far more intelligent than you know Eric Matthews, but he just had such a feel for that character that it could just come out and bubble out of him naturally and organically, and it just became like the perfect marriage of character and actor.
Yeah.
Most of the things he did on there were just hilarious.
Right, so your character was written out in, I think, the 4th season. You got into a motorcycle accident and then kind of just vanished. Was that like a mutual decision, or was there other reasons? I mean, if it's too personal, you don't have to answer. But I just
no, that was you know, sometimes networks or producers or whoever it is that are in power decide that they want to go in a different direction or they want to try something different with the show. Yeah. And that was a situation where I remember Michael had called me in and said, all right, so here's the deal. You know, Disney wants to go in a different direction. They want to try to do something different. And he goes, and I argued and tried as best I could to try to save this character and do things that we want to do with the thing. He said, but it's just not going to happen. And I was like, oh, okay, well, if that's what you guys decide is best, you know, and I don't mind if they want to do that, if in any show, if they want to do that and they want to either write out a character or do something different, but at least give the audience the respect that they deserve and get rid of the character in such a way that at least it's satisfying to the audience.
Yeah. There wasn't really an explanation.
Right. For them to do it the way they did, I just kind of felt like it was just this unnecessary cliffhanger. Like, what happened? What was that?
Yeah.
Because the audience, we've been really invested and we're emotionally caught up in this, and then just to do that, I just think it's disrespecting the audience. I would have rather had them do that in a different way.
While we're on the subject of writing out characters, a lesser known character, he was only in maybe, I want to say 10 episodes, but Eli Williams. What happened to Eli Williams?
Yeah, that was another one of those situations where sometimes they put on a character, and I think Eli and I had great chemistry together.
Oh,
I mean, Alex Desire is just a great guy and a great actor, an amazing talent. And I think they could have done some really great things with that character and the way he related to some of the other characters. But again, they make decisions and they say, well, let's try to go in this direction or let's try to do that. And maybe we don't have room for this character right now.
Yeah.
So then they just have to, maybe try to, since they've introduced him, maybe they try to either just hope that the audience will forget or they try to, ease him out a little bit, and I don't know why they do that, but I guess it happens.
Yeah. Did you, were you still a fan of the show after you had left? Did you still watch it?
No, to be honest, actors are kind of like gypsies. When you finish a show or when you're done with a show, you move on to do other shows, and then those people that you're working with become, I don't want to say, your best friends, but they become the people that you're involved with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. You're more involved with the project that you're doing, so you're immersed in that. And it's not that you don't look back and say, I'd like to go back and see it. Because I think there were a few times when I would, while they were filming the show, I would go and visit Michael and I would see Ben and I would come and visit Will on stage and stuff. And we'd go to lunch and things like that. But in terms of the show, I just got involved in other projects and those shows became the ones that I was most interested in.
Yeah. I mean, I like obviously in, I want to say season 5 or 6, like Sean's character loses his father, so I feel like Mr. Turner would have been a great addition to that story, would have helped him. So were there any characters, obviously we've already covered Eric, was there any characters you wish you could have had more screen time with?
Any of them. I think there could have been more screen time with maybe the parents as he got involved more and more with Sean. I would have liked to have had more scenes with Rusty and Betsy. I think there could have been maybe a little bit more with Bill Daniels as he sought him out, maybe as a mentor, kind of thing. But maybe they might have thought that might have maybe been a little dramatic, and they didn't want to pursue that really. Yeah, I mean, I think there could have been a lot of interesting things they could have touched on with those characters, or maybe even a little bit more with Ben as I try to get insights into who Ryder's character was and what Sean was all about. And, you guys are best friends. Tell me a little bit more about how I should treat him, things like that.
On the show, there was a lot of comedic talent. And so I've always wondered, was there room for improvisation or was everything had to be scripted, or did Michael give you the power to like ad lib?
You could ad lib a little bit. I know Will and I talked about that in later episodes, and as the show progressed and as he became more and more outrageous, his character. I mean, basically, he said they would give him lines, and he would just say, "All right, I'm gonna just keep the cameras rolling, and I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do." And they knew that whatever he was gonna do was gonna be gold, so they just gave him pretty much license to do whatever he could and just follow wherever he went.
While I've got you, I do have to ask, did Will come up with plays with squirrels? Was that him or was that Michael? Do you know?
You know what? I'm not sure about that, but it certainly would not surprise me that Will would come up with that. If he said, yeah, that was mine, I would have said, of course it was.
Just how his mind works.
Yeah.
Do you have your own personal favorite moment from the show or favorite episode?
Like I said, it's interesting. As I said, I stopped watching the show after my last first run episode of that show was, I think, in, gosh, I don't remember what month, but it was in 1996. And the episode was when I was in the hospital in the body cast or whatever. So that was my last episode. I think that's the last episode I watched. So I can't really speak to episodes that I wasn't in. So I can only talk about the episodes that I was in. And I would have to say probably one of my favorite episodes. There's a couple of moments. There was I don't know if you remember the episode where Sean adopts a baby pig.
Yes. Little Corey.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, little Corey. That's right. That was just a lot of fun to do that episode because we had a baby pig on set, and there was a couple of times when I had to like have the pig on my lap, and it was like licking my face and all that stuff. So that was a lot of fun. I remember that, and Richard Karn was on the show that week from Home Improvement.
Yeah,
and he's a crack up, that guy. And he was just so fun to have around on set. He was just making jokes all week and doing stuff that made us laugh. So that was a lot of fun to do that episode. But I think probably one of my favorite episodes that I can look back on and remember was the episode where I tell Sean a lie and he tells me a lie.
Oh yeah.
Because we both want to have some time alone or something like that, and then we catch each other. And then we have to confront how we've made a mistake. And I was just really proud of the work that Ryder and I had done on that show. I thought it was very touching. I thought it was very emotional, that the way they kind of addressed that situation and the way we reconciled and kind of worked through that. I was just really, really pleased with that episode.
Yeah, it was really good. So when Girl Meets World was announced, I'll be honest, I was actually really... not against it, but I was unsure because of how much Boy Meets World affected me when I was young. So sometimes when they bring stuff back, it's not as good. Thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah. I was actually thoroughly impressed with it. I really enjoyed it. When did you first hear that Michael was bringing it back, and when did he first approach you to reprise your role?
It was funny. I kept getting all of these social media hits from everywhere, and I couldn't quite understand why. Because I'm going, what is all this? I don't know what. Because it was on Twitter, and all these things were coming through, and I'm kind of scratching my head, going, why is all of a sudden everybody talking to wanting to whatever, and then. Somehow I put it together that they said Girl Meets World was going to be on, and then people were asking me if I was going to be a part of it or whatever. And I told Michael, I said, I sent him an email, and I said, I must say, I have to thank you for, I'm getting thousands of emails and, Twitter hits and all this stuff. And I said, I had no idea what it was until finally I said, so congratulations if you're doing Girl Meets World, and, hope it's a wonderful success and hope it's everything Boy Meets World was. And then he sent me back an email and said, let's get together and have lunch. So we did, and we started talking about the show, and we started talking about what his vision would be. And he said, I'd really like to revisit some characters. Yeah. And he goes, and I don't know if you'd be willing, if you'd want to. And I said, well, of course. I said, I would love to work with you again. I respect you as an artist, as a writer. I said, I think it would be an absolute joy to come back. I said, but, I have to be honest, I'm a little concerned because, like you said, when they bring something back and you try to revisit a character maybe 20 years later, is it going to be the same? And Michael's vision of it was he's going to be the same, but he's going to be different. He's going to be, have progressed, and he's going to have grown and so forth. And I just was really worried or concerned that I wasn't going to be able to step back into those shoes and do it as well as I had done it before, or that maybe people were going to be comparing and saying he's grown older, it's not the same. So I was really concerned about that. But
I think, like I said about the finale episode earlier, I think you fit back in the role perfectly, especially when you've still got that goofy nature, because you were like, hey, Sean's wife, like that was just great. And might have got a little emotional watching that, but
well, I got to be honest, I'll share something with you. That hug between Ryder and I, that was a real genuine moment. That was sort of a reconciliation for Ryder and myself. Up until that time, we really hadn't addressed the issue ourselves as actors or as characters.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that and grab each other like that and hold that hug for a moment, it was genuine. And I'm glad we got a chance to share that as actors, and I'm glad we got a chance to show that to the audience, because I think they deserved it.
Yeah. Do you know if there's any ever chance of it ever coming back? Or is it done for good?
I don't know. In this day and age, the way media outlets are with other avenues like Netflix or Hulu or whatever, I don't know. Anything's possible, but I've sort of been out of that loop now, so I don't know what's what's going on, or if that's even a possibility that they're talking about it.
Okay. And then just one last question. So, I mean, other than Boy Meets World, you've done A Christmas Snow, which is a great little film. It's tugs at your heartstrings. I'll give it that. No Greater Love, which I think is your best acting performance. That's really emotional. I'm a single dad myself, so I found that film really relatable, and I think your acting is incredible in that.
Thank
you. You've like appeared in like Pretty Little Liars, Melrose Place. Have you got any future projects in the works that you can maybe tell us about?
Right now, I'm doing some writing on a couple of projects that we've been trying to get financed for, but we're finding some difficulty trying to get the financing for it. But I'm working on a short film right now. I'm sort of right in the middle of the script for that. There's always little projects on the side here and there. I'm supposed to do something in October that I'm not quite sure about the details yet. Those are supposed to be forthcoming.
Okay.
But that's about what I'm up to for now.
Okay. And sorry, I just realised there's one final question. Which do you prefer? Because I can only imagine there's quite a vast difference. Movies or sitcoms?
I like it all. For me, it's the same in the sense that it's doing your craft.
Yeah.
If you're doing a film, and it's really heavy dramatic stuff, that's great because you get to tap into things that are different from a sitcom. But a sitcom is like the best gig in the world. You're doing a play once a week.
Yeah.
You get the feedback from the audience. You get the live energy from them. They're laughing at your jokes, and if you mess it up, you get to go back, and it's take two. And I've always loved the dynamic of being on a soundstage and rehearsing all week and then doing a live show. So I mean, yeah, if I had to absolutely choose and say which one is probably the most advantageous for an actor, it would be a sitcom because you get to stay home, you get to go to work. It's the best hours in the world. There's not a whole lot of pressure as opposed to maybe going on location for a film or something like that. So sitcom is a dream job.
Okay. All right, so that's about it. So thank you so much for doing this. Honestly, it means a lot. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, thank you for your time.
Hey, I appreciate you asking me to do it. I had a great time, so thank you so much yourself.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. As if I got to talk to Mr. Turner. Wow.